the good thing about good interviews is that they last a lifetime, especially when you actually live up to the things that you're saying in your interviews, right? So I want y'all to take a look at this interview. What you'll notice is I'm a lot younger in this one, right? This was like 5 years ago when I first had my commercial space. I had this interview with Maya. This was one of her first interviews that she ever did. And full circle moment, we about to have an event coming up soon, amongst a bunch of other things. So if you're not already in the creative community, make sure you join it. You can catch all of the details on how to join it in the description. But otherwise, just enjoy the episode. You know what I mean? I put all of it together in one concise episode. I improved the audio, so I hope y'all enjoy it. Grab the top.
All right. Hey, y'all. I'm Maya Kiana, and I'm back with another episode of Art Exhibit. Today I'm here with another creative. I'll let him introduce himself.
My name is Terrence Harris. It's not really a long explanation. That's my real name, my government, my artist name, my name. That's me. That's how Terrence Harris.
Cool. All right. So aside from your name, thank you for that. I want you to tell me and the viewers a little bit about who you are.
So I'm from the United Kingdom. I spent 5 years growing up there because my parents are in the military. So I don't really have a direct relationship with Europe or United Kingdom. But the one thing that I do remember is that it was a military base. And then, it's definitely different than the rest of my art. And then I moved to Virginia and I lived there for about 14 or 15 years. And then that's when I started transitioning to Philadelphia, and I've been living here for about 3 to 4, going on 4 years.
How do you like the city so far?
It's treating me real good. I mean, that's why I came here. I had good intentions to come here. Like, I kind of looked it out, so it's just been doing what I tell me.
That's good. I've been here all my life, so I'm kind of sick of it. I love my city, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I left where I was at.
Yeah.
It's nothing against it, but...
For sure. So, based off of your introduction, can you tell me something about any of the 3 places that you made that kind of made you a little bit who you are? Like any experience that you would say is responsible for making you who
The first, when people ask me questions, I try to go to what immediately comes to me. So initially moving to the States, I found that it's shaped and molded me. I haven't always been all the way aware of that at times, but I notice it as I'm growing older. And then on a more internal, self-aware level, I know when my parents got divorced, that was a big shift for me personally. But that's when I was living in Virginia for about 5 or 6 years. So Virginia is where I gained a lot of my personal experiences, just because I lived there the majority of my life.
Right. So what would you say is, I guess, a benefit since you've been there compared to anywhere else that you've been?
Way more opportunities. I mean, that are accessible to me. I'm just now going through the first part of my adult life, really. I mean, when I left, like I said, when I was about 20, so the opportunities that were immediately available where I was at were prerequisite of whatever grades I got, going to school. And then I had the military option. And then, I'm not going to try and stretch it. That was like directly what it was. And then, so being here, I've noticed that there's a lot more opportunities. And as far as just being creative, being an entrepreneur, getting an apprenticeship in a trade or a skill, finding a business that you can work directly in and move up. Like, there's just a lot of different type of opportunities that I appreciate.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of the viewers could benefit from, because I know from experience, a lot of the people that have been here for a while kind of overlook those opportunities, and they kind of feel like there's nothing in the city, so they want to get out pretty much. So that was really insightful to have somebody that's not, originally from here speak on the different opportunities that the city does offer.
I guess that's what I'm most grateful for, and why I move with as much integrity as I can, because I know that, like you said, some people can overlook that. And I try to use my experience in my life to, I guess, like you said, like what we're doing right now, just bring like one little bit more of awareness, even if it ain't somebody from here or, you know what I mean, far away. It's like, there's a lot around you. If you recognize that, I want to go back to where I'm from so that I can capitalize and, reciprocate the energy of my appreciation to a lot of the opportunities that were given to me there that I just didn't see the value in at the time.
Right.
Like the people and the stuff, like there's mad stuff going on in Virginia. I just didn't really have the foundation to like do anything. You know what I mean?
What is? So now you want to take some of the experiences that you got, the names that they taught you, and take on you came through.
Yeah.
So now I want to dive a little bit more into your music.
Okay.
Tell me how you would personally describe your sound.
I mean, when you say, like I said, I always like to go with the answer that come to my head first. So hip hop and breathe and self-reflecting. Those are like the three things that came to my head immediately, because that's just where I derive the influence of what I'm talking about from mostly.
Right. That was my follow-up question. What or who influenced your music?
Me right now.
So
Huge, like people in hip hop as a whole. Like I don't really got too many favorites. Like I'm a Gemini Bias person. Like if you're a Gemini, you make music, I just like you automatically. So
okay.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I got one because everybody needs to Gemini for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
I'm a Gemini, so I'm a fanatic for that. I'm like blindly into that. So sometimes I know I am, but that's just we're gonna probably cover that, right? But outside of just hip hop influence, like in Gemini's, they be being prescribed in it. Like I said, growing up where I grew up, and the people who I directly grew up around are my main influences, like my friends and the people that have taught me how to do stuff. Just you grow, and then I guess just like my personal perspectives of things, like that unbiased opinion that everybody got. Like I just kind of just let that float in my music too.
Yeah. I think there's a trend that is starting to appear. The artists that I talk to that are more, I guess you say, self-aware, seem to give notice to like their close circle when I ask who influenced them compared to like a celebrity or something like that. So
I mean, I know I've detached personally from giving my attention to people with fame, because I watched the school of what they've learned from just based on their experiences and like points of reference that they would give you to gain some of the insight that they've received prior to implementing that advice. And it don't always be super sufficient.
yeah.
It don't always be for the longevity or personal benefit. Other people can, they be getting a lot out of that before they do. So I don't really try to emulate those kind of people, because they don't really produce the kind of outcome I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? But
It's a message. Alright, so keeping it going. What are your thoughts on, you kind of spoke on it, your thoughts on today's music scene?
I love everything that happens to music, bro. Like, I had this rough little patch when I was like broke, and I feel like you only don't like stuff if you're not self-sufficient. Like, I'm telling you, I had this little rough patch where I was like, man, I hate Future. But I love Future now. But I realized one day when I was opening the mailbox at this girl house I was living at, when, I just woke up and I was going through it with this girl that I had a relationship with. I was like, man, people getting paid off my life, bro. Like, they talking about my life. And that's what deeply was painful to me, was that people were able to reap the benefit of the things I actually experienced. And then I was like, oh, that's all I'm hating. That's why I had to like kind of fix my collar that day about that. I'm like, oh yeah. Like, so that's one of the reasons I fell in love with Future, is because he's able to, utilize the experience that we have that people don't value and bring value to it for himself. I mean, I'm real big on that. Like, if you're a creator, you shouldn't really need it from nobody else. I mean,
Yeah, that's a dope perspective to have, I think, to kind of, digest what you have going on with yourself. And
yeah, man. That's all it is, because it's like, I love everything. That's what I said. I one thing that I'll hear people my age, because I'm 26, I'll hear people my age be like, I don't like what the youth be talking about. But I'm like, the youth keep it a bow wow. When they tell you in their music, like, they tell you what's really going on. So, like,
when I seen what happened to Tekashi and Kodak and them other people, like I have a duality that can appreciate everything that's going on in both of them. So I was like, I don't appreciate what they do to people, the positions that they put people in. I appreciate that we get to see what bad decision making looks like in real time. And then I'm also thankful that they had the opportunity to see something better than the situation they were brought into, because they've experienced the same level of poverty and pain, even to maybe a degree that's more personally traumatizing to them than me. You know what I mean? So it's like I want people to have the opportunity to live in the light, but if you don't know how to, you know what I mean, live in the light, then they be taking it. So that's why I was just saying about the fame thing initially. It's like if you're not really on the right path, then it's not gonna work for you. So I love music from back in the day. I love all the music. I just don't like music that depicts something that is not genuinely going on for you. I don't like that. I don't like fake stuff. You're just like.
So you mean like, okay, so like an artist that's just blatantly lying.
You just blatantly lie so that people listen to your music. That's just that's going on.
Agreed. No such thing. All right. So now I want to ask you, where do you see yourself, or where would you like to be in the next 5 to 10 years?
I love that. I ask every person that I talk to that question. In 5 years, I'm going to be 31, right? So I want to be in a relationship that can provide my first child. And the reason why I'll be, like, the only way I'll be content, or I guess more prepared in myself to take on that endeavor, is if I have my personal finances, like, as sufficient as I would like. And my goal is to be generating $40,000 from my personal business by that time, so that I can provide enough income to, like, you know, give the woman that I'm with and the one child that I'm anticipating by that time sufficient, means to maintain my family, so that I can grow and develop more perspective with them, you know, at past 5 years, or, you know, like you say, going into 10. That's my goal. I want to start a family. But prior to being able to start that family, I want to put myself in a position to be self-sufficient, so that I can provide for them.
That's definitely a message. A lot of people's having kids without having them thoughts prior.
I think about that all the time. I don't got no kids. I'm the youngest of 3, and my parents, you know, they made a lot of responsible decisions, a lot more responsible decisions than I do. Like, they from the military, they did it for 20 years. They got married. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I appreciate the setup that they gave me up until the point that it ended. You know what I mean? So I try to. So I don't try. I make sure that I give thanks by acting like I appreciate that. You know, I make sure I act on it.
Can you speak to that? I go very from experience the impact that coming from, you know, a 2-parent or can have with the person. So could you kind of speak to that? And like what impact did it have?
I noticed growing up that all my friends will always be like, I don't have a dad, I don't have a dad, I don't have a dad. And I grew up with my dad. Like, when the custody battle ended, my dad came out the dust. You know what I'm saying? And so I grew up with my pops, and I will always see how my demeanor and my point of view on things were a lot different than the other guys around me. Just as far as having a personal identity, because I could see a lot of who I wanted to be in my father. Even though I didn't like all of it, I had parts I could take from.
You just made it click for me, like that's why, because it was something to identify with.
Yeah, but a lot of the dudes I was with, they would like create situations to prove that they would want to prove the person that they would want to be in a lot of situations. And so that's what I would conflict with a lot growing up. Because I didn't, and so then that would always, in turns, you know, I'll hit my mom up and be like, yeah, man, you know, it's rough because you're not around. But then I grew to appreciate the ability that she had to be there when she could, because it showed a lot of strength. Just in the sense of, you don't always get it the way that you think, but that don't mean you can't make something good out of it. You know what I mean? So I all of my most, you know, intentional actions in life come from what it is that my mom didn't have or wanted, as far as moments where those are things that I look to provide myself and the people around me, you know, my friends and you know, the girls that I rock with, like, cause, you know, it's something as simple as my mom not having the ability to, you know, pay for the sticker on her car so that she could drive legally. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A car that isn't sufficiently maintenance just to come get me so that we could go somewhere and she could argue with the lady at the restaurant to get us something to eat, just so we could share a moment. Like, you know, I really, it's a large extent to just for you to be for your child. So I at first I used to be bratty about like being not here physically, but I've learned a lot of how I apply myself in life now and what result, you know, all effort has in every situation. You know what I mean? And not just look at it like, oh, I can get what I want.
Yeah. And it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
It's kind of hard to do that. So yeah, appreciating the little things because they are the things that matter ultimately.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is one thing that the people should know about you?
That I want to create more protected and sufficient opportunities for people in the world. That's what my goals. That's what my missions. That's what everything that I seek to do, from, you know, the growing up with my sisters to knowing the position my father's in to a man's taking this right now. Like, I want to be able to provide opportunities to people so that they don't have to endure the schedule or the systematic or the natural progression of what can occur. I want to try and implement some kind of, you know, not even some form. I'm gonna implement this business that I'm building right now as an opportunity for people to integrate to, so that they can create opportunities for themselves that are sufficient without putting themselves in negative opportunities to gain it. You know, and I'll speak more directly into just what inspired me to do it that way, is because I notice a lot of the trauma that exists in my community comes from not being provided the best opportunity through capitalism. So I want to be able to create an opportunity within it, outside of it, above it, around it, to any degree that my life can provide me, so that people can take one less step to gain what it is that they try and gain. Because I know I can't fix or change or break everything in the whole wide world, but I'm going to make it a very distinct effort to utilize Newports and News as a business to create opportunities for people to be more self-sufficient for themselves.
See, now I always wanted to change the world. So it's very simple. Like, my idea is very similar to what you're saying. Like, my idea was I want people to realize that life is not work, die. So,
no, that's a good job. Like, that's real. That's exactly how I feel, right?
Since I graduated, so like I tried to be a computer scientist, didn't work. So now I'm studying psychology, and we're gonna see how that pans out. But so I'm just taking different paths to try to figure out how I want to do that. So I think, like, I really admire you, first of all, you even thinking that way, because I feel like a lot of people don't. Like, most people just hop on the hamster wheel and keep going. So you definitely are going to dive more into that. Should you tell us about the business for reference?
Yeah, so Newports and News is it's a media platform that I created initially to help guide my friends through the industry that we're all familiar with as far as the music. It's now developed into an independent contracting agency that gives creatives an opportunity to make money off of their crafts and monetize what it is that they want to live off of, as far as their hobbies or crafts or skills or abilities. You know, however way you want to swing the word, but that's the main objective. And the way that we do that is by supporting the members and the audience that we have. We utilize social media and in-person events and lecture ceremonies to teach and create opportunities where people can teach the things that they know. And then we also provide entertainment that is geared to deliver like educational value and also more productive views of self. Because, you know, I'm real big on like reaffirming and seeing and writing what you want to be. So I grew up seeing negative depictions of myself a lot growing up, and I re-emulated that growing up. So I want to create media and content that gives more productive views.
And I have to say that this is my second time here in Newports and News, and it's just a beautiful thing that y'all put together. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. I just started this podcast, and this is my fourth interview. And two of the people that I've interviewed, I've met here at Newports and News. So that's half of my show right there I got from Newports and News. And the other two are affiliated with Newports and News. So Shout out to y'all, man.
Thanks. No, absolutely. You know, you're a person that I admire. And that's why I called you and wanted to make history with you. Because I was just telling my friend the other day that you can utilize the content to really bridge a gap for a lot of people in the future. So, you know, you gave people that I appreciate an opportunity. You gave me an opportunity. You gave me yourself one.
Right.
You other people. So it's like, I appreciate you a lot for that. And I admire it also.
Thank you. All right. I have a couple wrap-up questions that I want to ask. And one of those being, what impact will... You answer all the questions before I answer.
But when you ask it again, you just giving me another opportunity. I like talking a lot of it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So this one is, what impact do you hope to have on the people who... The initial question was the people who hear your music, but now I want to add it's the people who you encounter as well as the people who hear your music.
I honestly don't even be knowing that all the time, because sometimes I want to be real petty, and sometimes I want to be like, I want to think that I want to provide a lot in a situation. I really analyze that a lot, so I appreciate you still asking that, because it's different. With my music, it's a lot more intentional because it's something that I create, so I can be biased and I can be intentional with that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I don't always know who I am or what I want to do personally, so that doesn't always, like, what I would want to do in a situation or would think I want to do in a situation ain't always what I act on.
Yeah.
So, like, I really work on, and it sucks that I just started that saying that, because that's what I want to work away from. So let me start over. I want to be less intentional with how I engage people and allow my personality and my personal appreciation for what the experience is to show more, instead of trying to show what I might think people will appreciate. And what it'll be nice and all that, you dig? So yeah, just let it flow, right?
And you just made me think of another question when you said that with music, as well as like television or any type of media, the artist has like kind of the power to manipulate the listener.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
Like you said, the music is kind of more intentional. How do you balance that power? Pretty much, that's what it is. Like,
I believe that anything you create is sacred. Now, I say that because I'm a bull crap around with some words while I look up, you know what I mean, what that actually mean, like sacred. But the reason I don't want to mess up the word, because from what I understand, sacred to me, it means that you can't re-emulate it or get it from nothing else, because it comes from a source that's unique. So like, I got the definition that says connected with God or gods, or dedicated to a religious purpose, or serving veneration, religious or rather than secular. So it's like I really try to create something that is intended to do something righteous. Mm-hmm. You know, that is what I move with in my work at all times, is righteousness, because what's there is there, whether it's good or bad or however way you perceive it. I think that your energy is something that you gotta always remain true in, because then all you're really doing, if you're not being honest with yourself, is giving an opportunity for you to be not seen or recognized for your real value in the situation later on. So even if I'm real big on getting over on stuff, I'm a Gemini, so I have real big trickster energy. You know what I mean? So it's like I really my integrity is something that I really I value, because I know how easily you can just slip it away for stuff. Yeah, and I've done it before. So I really want to utilize music as an opportunity to project more righteous and gain that back and create a world where that's more the vibration, man. Because I've been around the other stuff, and I appreciate you asking me that, because that's the question made me even think about it. Yeah, it made me think about it just now.
Now, when you say work to create a world that's like basically to an image that's of your standards, could you talk a little bit about, like, for other artists, like the power that there is and being able to kind of, or like the possibility of creating a world? Like, what I'm trying to say is most artists kind of just hop on the scene and they feel like they can't make anything else besides what's mainstream. Mm-hmm. So what words do you have for those people in terms of like doing your own thing or creating your own thing?
6 carve in my flesh, 9 ether, my dude. Like, that's some stuff I wrote, because it's like, if you know the difference between them in you, like as far as you knowing you the real thing to provide the situation, I'm never worried about the fake stuff because it's like when I see a person that's fraudulent, I laugh. Like, because I'll be like, I know that I have way more to offer than that. So I'm never really ever intimidated or taken off of my path when I see somebody who's not authentic. Like, I heard a good saying where it's like, when you're faking for the gram, you got 90% of people fooled because they consume that stuff. But the bosses on the gram, they scroll and they see that you're capping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've always been a boss. I've never not had the mentality of not creating it on my own. Like, when I raised a hand in like 2nd or 3rd grade, I told my teacher, she said, what are you going to do when you grow up? I was like, I want to be the president. And she was like, well, these are the requirements, and you're from Europe. So, you know, boom, boom, boom. She tried to knock me off it quick. And I was like, well, I'm going to just get my own island and I'm going to start from scratch. Like, I've always been that way. You know what I'm saying? So I'll never let what is appropriate what's the word, that deter me from what it is that I feel is like you said, the world that I want to create for myself. I let the results tell me that it's not possible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
All right, that was dope.
So yeah, for the clownies, you know, you gotta just make sure you have makeup, you know what I'm saying, for when the show is ready, so that you can be ready to impress and gain everybody else's appreciation. But you know, the real ones, they're gonna just stay true to being real. Like, this is how you gotta do that.
Yes. All right. So that was my advice question. Now I want to ask you to plug any events that you have going on, anything that you want the people to know about.
The event is TEE on Instagram, because it's like, just if you just hit my line, you know, when you see this, things gonna change. I got 80 things going on, so it's just like, if you hit me directly, we can figure out what's the best opportunity for us to create, you know, a moment or an experience.
And I can put all of the links in the bottom.
Absolutely. You know, Terrence Harris, like I said initially, that's music, that's Google, that's Facebook. Like, I'm not hard to find. The only thing that's different, which I intend on making a difference of, is Instagram. When you type in Terrence Harris, I'm going to be one of the first ones that come up.
Right.
But everywhere else, I pretty much got that covered. Like, if you just type in Terrence Harris on the gram, it's TEJOYNEWS, and that's not going to change, because in-person news is not going to change. So I'll always be TJ News from now on the gram. That's a done data.
Mm-hmm. One more question before we go. Absolutely. So you said Terrence Harris, and then TJ on the right. So do you look at those as like different personalities, so to speak?
TJ is definitely a less intimate perception that I have of myself, because when I was young, TJ was me covering up my first and my middle name because I didn't appreciate either. And so TJ definitely is, you know, like my alias. Yeah, they're just my initials. They're up my name. It's not nothing like encrypted or real strategic or nothing. It's just my initials. But Terrence that's what I was birthed with. And, you know, I give thanks. I'm going to show appreciation to my mom for that. So I wear that. I wear the name that she gave me. Like, that's what I'm more. That's more. Go ahead.
All right. And before we go, I don't know if you charge for this type of information, but I see on your Instagram you was talking like real deep about melanin and everything of that nature. So I wanted to ask you to spit some knowledge on whatever you feel comfortable talking about.
I have a segment that I'm developing called the Dark Matter Think Tank. Give thanks to Phil Valentine, because he's the one who introduced me to that conversation and information pertaining to having knowledge of self, and self meaning spirit and the soul, the mind, the oneness that we all are tapped into as human beings. From what I've studied, we are projections of light that are perceived through our eyes being vessels of our brain that allow us to perceive that light, being fragments and structures that allow us to have life in the way that we see it. But the essence of life is already pre-programmed from the initial creator, and it moves through the spirit and in all things that we use on this plane of existence. So I use the Dark Matter Think Tank